part of the reason that Bitcoin is attractive to people is because we all have the sense right now, and that's certainly part of the reason why so many of you are here tonight, is that there's a little bit too much tyranny going on. And that's the collusion of large-scale enterprises at the top. And so there are attempts to push back on that by developing decentralized systems. And the idea that we could develop a decentralized standard of universal value, which is what money is very interesting idea. I've done what I could to think through the Bitcoin proposition, and it makes sense, but that doesn't mean it's right. You know, I went to a Bitcoin conference a while back, and it was full of Bitcoin enthusiasts, and of course all they wanted to hear was enthusiastic things about Bitcoin, and fair enough, you know, because it's not like I'm a great fan of the fiat currency that allows governments to print money and inflate away value, because that punishes people who are sensible and who make the proper sacrifices. It's inflationary, as you're all seeing right now. It's a very bad idea.
Dr. Jordan Peterson, the controversial and thought-provoking psychologist and author, is taking on the world of finance in this electrifying discussion on the potential benefits and risks of Bitcoin. In this conversation, he is going to be exploring the potential benefits and risks of Bitcoin. He argues that Bitcoin offers an alternative to the current monetary system, which he believes is prone to abuse by powerful entities. But don't be fooled, this conversation is not for the faint of heart. Peterson warns that the introduction of a radical solution like Bitcoin could have unintended consequences. Disrupting a complex system could lead to unpredictable outcomes. He points out that Bitcoin's success could result in the decentralization of the economic system and the removal of control from the political domain. Stick around to the end of this video to find out whether Jordan is a true supporter of Bitcoin or not, and whether or not he holds it in his wallet.
And to give the centralizers that power, I think it's not a good idea. Now, that doesn't mean that Bitcoin is the right solution. And part of the problem with introducing a radical solution like Bitcoin, and it's radical because it would change the way we undertake all our trade, is that it probably won't do just the things you think it will do, right? Because when you change a system that is so complex you don't understand it, like when you disrupt the supply chain to hypothetically control COVID, all sorts of things happen that you don't expect, which is what conservatives always remind liberals. It's like, don't be thinking that your revolutionary change is only going to bring about the positive things that you envision, because you don't know what you're mucking about with. And so we could, in principle, and this seems to be what's happening, is allow a variety of currencies to battle with one another on the competitive landscape. And we sort of have that internationally, because every currency has to trade against every other currency. And now we've added cryptocurrency to that mix, and that seems to me to be a good experimental option. And maybe Bitcoin will aggregate to itself the value that its adherents claim, but that remains to be seen, and it doesn't mean it's a pathway without pitfalls, right? Because we imagine Bitcoin was successful, and all of a sudden we never had any control over, we really never were able to exercise control over our monetary system again. Because that's what it would mean, because it really is decentralized. And if Bitcoin and the blockchain technology truly obtained the upper hand, we would have put our economic system outside of the political domain. Now, you can make a case that maybe that would be an okay thing, right? Because you don't want the standard of value subordinate to political machination. But it also means that it's no longer subordinate to the collective will, the collective express will of the people as manifested in the electoral process. And we don't know if that would be a good thing. And it's a hell of an experiment to run, because you won't know the outcome until you can't alter the results of the experiment. So, you know, I have some investment in Bitcoin because I'm curious about it, and It's a compelling idea. It's a genius idea, but that doesn't mean that it's destined for success. So I'm pro decentralization. I like the idea that mendacious, short-term oriented, narcissistic, power-mad politicians can't inflate the currency and steal value from people to fund their idiot pet projects. But you know, revolutionary changes usually bring about radically unintended consequences. So, and I think that's why the marketplace is still toying with Bitcoin, you know, instead of rushing headlong into its embrace, let's say. So that's what I think about Bitcoin.